If you're a teacher, imagine this. Instead of feeling overworked and underpaid, you're now teaching just a few hours a week and getting paid more money than you ever have done before. And you don't even need to quit the teaching profession. Well, if that sounds crazy, I've already helped over 2,500 teachers escape the grind and build their dream online teaching businesses so they can teach groups online and have a way better work-life balance. And in this video, I'll break it down for you step by step so you can see exactly how they're doing it so you can model this as well. So if you're a teacher who wants to build a better work-life balance in 2025, check this video out right now. All right, so keep watching through this video and I'll share with you the exact schedules that teachers like Sadat using to teach just a few hours a week. And so that's bringing in consistent 13 grand months. Teachers like Sarah, who scaled to 5 grand a month, teaching French online, teaching a few hours a week. Teachers like Killian, who quickly scaled to almost 2 grand in his business, teaching just a few hours a week. And it took him just 30 days. Teachers like Lisa, who was able to quit the classroom and actually start tutoring writing online and get paid more than she was as a school teacher. And even teachers like Evan, who quickly scaled to 11 grand a month in his online teaching business and was able to get to a position where he's able to stop teaching full-time in a school. These teachers have all got schedules that they love. They get to have more time at home. They're creating more impact and also having more fun as well. And if you watch this video, I'll show you the exact schedules that they're using, how they're pricing their online tutoring services so that you can go and do the same as well. Okay, so here's why I'm sharing this video with you. Here's the average teaching schedule over here. Now, if I load this up on a Google Calendar, you're going to see you probably go to school. You know, if you're a teacher in a school, you probably arrive at school shortly before 9 a.m., right? So probably get there about 8 a.m. Perhaps some of you like to walk in late, maybe it's a little bit later. But let's say that then really that's kickstarting probably by about 7 a.m. in the morning when you're having to make your way into school. And for the majority of you, you're probably getting finished around 3:30 with your classes, 3 p.m., 3:30 in the afternoon. Maybe you stay after school for a bit, and then therefore you're probably getting home, or maybe you're still at school. A lot of you workaholics at like 5 p.m. So here's the average teaching schedule. But what if I told you there's other teachers who have schedules where they teach just a few hours in the evening, or they teach even less, just like this, or some teachers even have teaching schedules that look like this? Well, that's exactly what we're covering in the video, okay? So let's break this down. And again, here's exactly why I'm sharing. So if we were to work out the average work days that a teacher does in the month, now you're probably teaching Monday through Friday, right? So let's just say on average about 20 days a month, yeah? Now the average work hours in the UK, 52 hours a week, US 53. So let's just call it 52. It's basically the same. The average teaching salaries then. Now, of course, this depends on your location, where you're situated in your country. It could be more, it could be less, but this is roundabout average that I took from Google, from a few surveys in Google. So average teacher salary in the US is about $3,800 a month. Again, it might be a lot more for you based on your position. It might be even less, right? Based on your position or location, okay? Average teacher salary in the UK is $2,500. That should not say dollars. We deal with pounds here in the UK, so £2,500, 2.5K, yeah? Now, so if we're to break this down, then the US hourly pay looks something like this. So let's say it's 52 hours. We just took 52 hours as average. I know it's 53, but let's say divided by 5 then. So that's about 10.4 across the day, yeah? Average hours that you're working. You're doing planning, you're teaching your classes, you're traveling, commuting to school. The whole day combined, you're probably spending something around about like this doing work-related things. Right, so if we times that by 20 average days in a month, it's like 208 hours across the month you're probably investing into teaching. Now again, for some of you it could be more, right? It could be a little bit less. So let's say based on the average teacher salary in the US, 3,800 divided by 208, that's $18.28 per hour. Okay, not very good, right? So where I was showing you at the beginning of this video, teachers like Evan, teachers like Melita, teachers like Marcus Samuel, who are replacing their teaching salary, they're getting paid way more than $25 an hour, right? So, or $18 even. So the UK then, it works out, if we do the same calculation, the same math, 2,500, 2.5K divided by 208 is just £12 an hour. Okay, pretty horrible, right? So we obviously need to find a way. Now, what you can do here, now let's think about it. Inflation, bills are rising, cost of living is just skyrocketing. It's not going to go down, right? It's going up continuously. Okay, so the only way for teachers to really survive is, of course, to do what? To work more. But if you're already working on an average of 10 and a half hours a day, then where are you going to find the time to work more? Now, you absolutely can, but then you're sacrificing things like family, doing things that you love, which contributes to things like poor mental health, right? And that's why studies found even in the UK that by 2027, almost half of the entire workforce is expected to quit. Okay, 52% of teachers, National Education Union found in a study that 52% of teachers say their workload is unmanageable. That's more than half. Okay, so obviously you're not going to work more because your work-life balance is going to go completely down the drain. And this video is helping you achieve a better work-life balance. Okay, so the solution is, of course, to turn to online tutoring. But in case you've been living under a rock, the online tutoring space is booming, right? So here's an example. Tara Taylor here, one of our clients, 100 grand. So it's a 6-figure business, right? This in the UK, that's like 125, probably something like that in the US, 20K months. That's not possible as a teacher. And Tara, if you look at this, if we look over on the screen here, if I get I can't put into words what the Teach Project has done for us as a family. My husband, Matt, now works full-time with me on this. We've been able to move to be closer to family. I can drop off and pick up my kids from school every day. We aren't stressing about money for the first time ever. We've been able to hire 6 amazing employees. Less than a year. Okay, so you get the point, right? And you can see her statements here from her business account, 20.4K, 100 grand. And that just took 9 months, right, for Tara to do that. So less than a year. Then if we scroll down, here's another teacher, Luke Savin, did 10 grand in a single month. Honestly, feel like I need to pinch myself. I actually remember Alex telling me when he had me on the call, yeah, you'll hit 10K in no time. And I think my response was, I don't see how that's possible. It's funny what you can accomplish in 7 months. Isn't this mad, right? Like teachers have to go to university to get a degree and spend 4 years doing it, right? And then you come out with a degree to go and teach in a school, but you end up selling your time, right? Because the only way that you can make more money is to work more. Plus, inside of and that's doing a different job alongside of teaching, right? So the key is obviously to use this golden window of opportunity that we have as teachers and educators with the online tutoring space booming, projected to be worth or grow by about 318 billion, I believe, between 2023 to 2028. So booming industry. Okay, so that's what these teachers are doing. They're tapping in to online tutoring. Now, before I show you how you can replace your salary as a teacher with group tutoring, I want to show you a couple of examples of how you could structure your schedule. Okay, so if I load up this Google Calendar I've got here, and this is a big mistake. So a lot of teachers, you might be one of the teachers who know about online tutoring, right? You might even already be doing it. You might already be teaching some students. But if you look at this calendar here, the big mistake that I see teachers make when they go online, all of these lessons on the screen, they are one-on-one lessons. So if you think about when a student's actually going to be able to get a teacher or a tutor after school, there's limited hours. Right? So if we were to look at this, if you start to, obviously you're not just going to quit your teaching job, right? You need to, it's not a switch, right? It's a dial. So if we were to add in the average teaching schedule that we had before, so if we go back here, look at this. Let's say you're at school from 7 till 5. So let's actually cancel out that lesson across there. And now let's say that you are at school, and you're from there 7 till 5. If I stick this on the calendar, So there I'm at school. So there's only so many hours in the day that you can then teach students if you teach them one-on-one. So the key to build a better work-life balance in 2025 as a teacher is to not teach students one-on-one. Because if you have a look here, you actually make your work-life balance even worse because there's only so many students that you can teach, and therefore your even gets rammed with one-on-one lessons. And let's say that you charge $40 or $50 or pounds, whatever currency you deal in, then yeah, it might be extra £200 or $200 an evening times by 5, an extra grand. That might seem cool, right? And that's what, $4,000 a month extra. That might seem like it might help. However, you basically create a glorified job because you can't do anything else, right? You can't speak to new parents or students to help them out. You can't do anything else inside of the business. Your evenings are completely gone. So the key is to not do one-on-one. So what you need to pivot to is more of a group-based model that looks like this. And here's how you can structure the groups. Now, this is just an example. So let's say that you're a reading teacher, or you can teach reading to elementary kids or in primary school or whatever. Now, what you could then do is you could form, let's say, 5 groups across the week. Okay, so group 1 could be the lower set, where students perhaps they're struggling, maybe they haven't got the same ability as some of the students. Now, in the beginning, you probably don't need to do that as you get your first students because you can just differentiate with the kids, right? Who you're bringing in as you're getting this going. If you're already working with students, you could absolutely create a lower set and a higher set, and that absolutely also creates motivation and drive for the students to, progress and get into the top set. So let's say you have one group of students here. They see you once on a Monday, maybe 5 till 6 p.m. This is just an example. That could be the lower set. They then see you again on a Thursday or a Wednesday. And so they have 2 lessons a week with you. So the key is to get in front of the students more because you can influence them, you can nurture them, you can help them get better results, right? But you're not scaling your time. So each group just gets 2 lessons. Then you might have group 2, which could be the higher set. Again, it doesn't have to be in the beginning. But let's say it's the higher set, and then they see you Monday, 6 till 7, and also Wednesday, okay, 6 till 7. Doesn't have to be those days, just an example. And now you have group 3, could be another lower set. They see you on a Tuesday for an hour, and then also a Thursday, okay. Then there's group 4, it could be higher set. They see you Tuesday, Thursday as well. And then if you really wanted to stick an extra group in there, you could have 5 students. So you could have group 5. Group 5. This could be a mixed set. Again, these don't have to be based on ability, but it could also be based on year group. So if you're or grade level at school. So let's say that you're a kindergarten, you can teach kindergarten, you can teach first grade. One of the groups could be specifically for kindergarten. The next group, so group 1 could be kindergarten students, and group 2 could be first grade. Group 3 could then be 3rd grade, and so on, right? Like you could do it like that, and you grow your groups that way too, okay? If you teach multiple subjects, let's say you're a science teacher, for example, you might have biology and chemistry and maybe physics, and you can pair them throughout the week like that as well. So Monday is chemistry and biology, and then you have Tuesday could be physics, that type of thing, so you can do it that way. So I'll tell you in a second how many students you would have in each group and how you can start to price this as well, so you can see how quickly you could replace your teaching salary if you so wish and go all in on this. But at this point, this would be maximum teaching schedule for you once you get here, okay? Guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps that I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace, and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out, and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link You can go and grab some free gifts on me, but I know you're going to love it. Teaching on your own terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments and go and pick up your copy today. So what you can then do, and this is what we see a lot of teachers do as well, you can now advance that. So in the beginning, if you're just starting out, I would always recommend building your groups this way. Cap out at 5 groups, okay? Don't teach any more than 10 hours a week. That's key. Otherwise, as I said, you become the business, because the only way, using this, you can quickly replace your teaching salary. But if you're just selling your time, as I showed you on the previous one-on-one, you're not going to have the time to do all of the other things to enroll students, okay? Because you're just giving away 1 hour at a time. And so in the beginning, it might work. You might make a little bit of extra money or income, but you're not going to improve your work-life balance. This way you will, because once you get there, as you'll see, you'll quickly replace your teaching salary, and then you can go all in on this, and that would be the maximum amount just I'd recommend to teach. And I'll show you why in a sec. Okay, but once you've now got student results, but based on where you're at in your business, if you're already teaching online, this could be something that could work for you. Okay, so what you would generally do here, once you've got more experience at teaching groups online, you could increase the amount of students, okay, per class, right? So I'd recommend doing 4 hours a week tops, okay, of teaching when it's just you. And that's what you would scale back to. So you could have, let's say, 10 students in group 1. They have 2 sessions a week. Maybe you even do 20. We've got teachers who work with like 50 students in a group. This would be better suited for older age range students, who are going like test prep subjects, more lecture based. This would work for you really well. So you'd probably then have a second group, and these could be mixed abilities based on the subject that you teach. They see you 1 hour there and then another hour in the week. But the key then, so that you can get in front of the students more and help them and guide them and mentor them, is to then run what we call a homework club. So once a week, you could place a homework club. If you're from the US, you might know it as something like office hours or something like that, where anybody could just come and they can ask you questions. We've seen a lot of our clients as well. For example, clients who teach something like reading, they call it book club. And so the students go along, they read their favorite book and they make it fun. And this is a great way to also boost retention and make sure that the students that you've got, as you're getting them online, aren't just thinking that all they get is just some Zoom lessons and stuff like that. So you need to provide more of an experience. You can also use this homework club as a catch-up class. So if you've got students who aren't getting the attention perhaps that you want them to in the lesson because you need to get more hands-on with them to help them, then you can strategically invite those students to come to the homework club or catch-up class that you could call it. And then that way you can nurture them and you can get in front of them and assist them and guide them more. Okay. So you could use it for that way. It could literally just be a Q&A club, like a homework club that I've got here, as an example, where the students can just come and ask you questions and you can just be there. Anyone can come if you run it that way. So it doesn't have to be limited to a certain amount of students. It's just there as extra accountability so you can provide a better support system. So that's a model that you can use. And then what I've also seen clients use as well, or we've seen teachers do really well, let's say if you really wanted to, you could just have drop-in classes and you could run your online teaching business like this, where every single day there could be a class. We have 5 sessions a week. I also run the homework club that I was just talking about. And so at that point, you could just keep enrolling students and they can pick and choose which day that they come to, and they might have to book, right? And at that point, you're only teaching 1 hour a day, right? So they might have to book in advance. So if and you could limit the spots per class, and let's say that you decide to cap out at 50 students. Well, that means if you were teaching 10 in a group, then there's an opportunity there and you could even have it so they could attend as many lessons a week as they want, or it could limit to 3 based on your student numbers. But then you could just open up an extra hour if you wanted to as well. And then you'd still only be teaching 10 hours a week. And that way the students have a choice. It encourages them to book in advance. So if they've got after school clubs, things like that they're going to, extracurricular activities, then it gives them the flexibility on their end as well. So they could literally just attend any day's classes. They just have to book in advance for it, kind of like a gym, right? If you've ever been to a gym, they run the classes. You have to book on in advance to attend the class. So this could work that way as well, and we've seen that work well too, okay? Now, so there's a couple of examples of the models that you can run. You can see how teaching groups online allows you to teach less, okay, than you would do teaching in a school, and plus you're teaching from the comfort of your own home, right? Well, how about the income? Okay, because I've showed you some of the teachers who, are making way more than what classroom teachers are. Well, here's how you would do it. So for example, if you look at my screen here, here's what you charge, right? So when you start out, like you could go with a couple of, and obviously this isn't based off of just like plucked out of thin air. We've worked with over 2,500 teachers at the time of me leaving this video. So we've kind of seen what are going rates that you can charge for online tutoring in groups. Okay, this is not one-on-one prices. So you might start off, if you're just starting from scratch, by charging something like $500 or £500 for 12 weeks. Okay, that's a great time to make sure there's commitment from the student or the parent, whoever you're speaking with. Maybe it's an adult learner, but it's a good time frame for them to see a difference as well. So it's a commitment for them. So it's not just like a month and then you don't know if they're continuing. And that doesn't give your business any predictability either. So you're going to want to start charging something. That would be the minimum that I would charge, right? $500 or £500 for 12 weeks. Or then if the parent or student couldn't pay it all, maybe you could help them structure an installment plan and they could split it up over the 12 weeks, which is kind of monthly, right? And they might do $200 or £200 per month. Very affordable, right? And so there's a slight bump on it. Obviously that works out to 600, but there's an incentive then for them to pay the tuition all up front, which is great for your business as you grow. You get more cash in, which is going to allow you to provide better resources for the students. It's going to allow you to invest into things like advertising to keep getting new students, and maybe even hire team members when you're ready as well, okay? Now, if you've already got some student results, and perhaps as you start to develop your sales skills as an online teacher, you can probably grow it to something like $1,000 for 12 weeks. That's kind of the average that we see teachers get to. Now, of course, you could sell much higher. We've got teachers who are selling their services at $3,500 for 12 weeks. Okay, so you can absolutely go higher than that, but that's a nice sweet spot that we find. Okay, so let's say you grew it to $1,000 per student for 12 weeks, and you might even go $750. You might go in between, and I'll show you what would be the best way to work this out in just a second. And then maybe if they can't pay all up front, the 3-month or 12-week commitment, the parent and student, you could do 3 lots of $400 paid monthly, okay? Or every 30 days, or 4 weeks or whatever. And then from there, like once you're collecting testimonials, gaining experience, you could increase your rates even more, okay? So in terms of the math breakdown, how you could work this out, and the reason why I'm sharing this with you is so you can create a target for yourself. So you've got something to aim for, because studies show when we've got a target, we've got a goal, we're way more likely to go out and produce the actions to get there because we can actually see it, we can visualize it, right? And we've got accountability. So math breakdown, take your salary and divide that by your price point, okay? So let's say that you had a teaching salary of $5,000 a month and you decided to price your services at $500. Well, that's only 10 students a month. So literally all you need to do would be to recruit 10 students a month and you would replace your teaching salary. Let's say that you charged $1,000. Well, that's just 5 students a month. Okay, let's say it was $750 and you could work out what that was. And now you've got a target each and every single month to go out and hit. Okay, so there's some math breakdown on that. Now, in terms of the teaching schedule, and I've kind of showed you this on the calendar, but what I would recommend was starting out to begin to build a better work-life balance would be to teach 5 students per group with 5 groups. So if we go back over to the calendar, this would be a great start point. Now, again, it doesn't have to be ability levels lower and higher sets. You could just have your 5 groups and make it your first goal to fill all of those 5 groups with 5 students per group, okay? That would mean you would cap out at 10 hours teaching. Each group sees you twice a week, as I showed you, so 10 hours teaching. And the reason why I would recommend that you cap it at 10 hours is because the goal here is to help you build a better work-life balance. Now, I can just share from experience in working with teachers who try to teach more once they go online. They end up getting stuck doing the teaching, and then they don't have time to hire teachers and keep growing their student base. And therefore, you're not going to have more impact, and you're not going to increase your income as well, so that you can at some point take a step back and start to bring in more teachers to help you, so you can scale your work-life balance down even more, so you've got more time for you. Now, let's say that you were charging the lowest rate that we said. I'd rather play lowball here so you can see as an example, but then shows you there is scope for growth. Yep. So let's say that you do charge each student $500 or £500. That would be 25 times 500. That's 12.5 grand. Okay. That would be every 12 weeks. Now, give or take, let's say that there's 3 blocks of 12 in the academic year, right? The autumn term, the winter, spring term, and then the summer term. Okay, so let's say there's 3 semesters or 3 school terms. Now, obviously, you could do more teaching that because you might run summer camps and things like this. So yeah, there is growth for more teaching weeks with your own business in the academic year or in the calendar year. But let's just use this as an example. So if there's 3 blocks of 12, that's 37.5 grand per year. Now, if you were to charge 1 grand a student, you double your business, and that would be making 75 grand a year. Okay, and that's just you at minimum. Okay, so then from there, obviously what you can do is you can scale impact by helping more students, which is in turn going to create the byproduct of helping you scale your income as well. Okay, so option 1 is increase your group size. Let's say that this is you at minimum with 5 students. Yeah, with 5 students in a class. Okay, if you put that to 10 students, what's that? That's 150. Yeah, 150 grand a year. Yeah, 75 times 2. Even if you were just charging 37.5, you might hire another 2. Sorry, even if you were bringing in 37.5 grand a year because you were charging $500 per student, you could hire another tutor, and obviously you would be paying the tutor, but now you don't have to increase your teaching hours, right? You're bringing in a teacher to help you, which can double your business. You bring in another teacher, you triple your business, and at some point you would get to a level where you would be able to really decrease your teaching hours, and you just teach when you want and who you want based in your student base. Okay. So the next question is, now that you can see how you can build a better work-life balance in 2025 as a teacher using online group tutoring, next question is, how do you get the students? Well, if you found this video useful and you can see how this could help you, and you haven't read my best-selling book, Teaching on Your Own Terms, I recommend you get a copy, because in the book, it talks about how to position yourself as an expert teacher so that you can attract the right students that can be grouped. It shares with you the type of things you can do to advertise your tutoring services, how you sell, what you should include for your students in the group classes to make sure they get life-changing results. And there's also a free course in there as one of the gifts for grabbing the book. So if you don't have a copy of my best-selling book, Teaching on Your Own Terms, recommend you pick it up. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, just hit the like button or leave a comment and grab the book. It'll be in the comments down below or in the description. And I'll see you in another video.